Hi guys, welcome to my June/summer TBRs, and let me just give you a little backstory on me and TBRs. So I have been doing these for 6-ish months now, and I used to not care whether I finished them all. I'd be like, whatever, I read like 2 books off this TBR, doesn't matter, it's just books that, I should try to read, right? And then this year, in January, I was able to finish every single book on my TBR, and that gave me this feeling of power and completion and happiness. And then I also started my book journal, which is so pretty for one, and for two, I was able to color in a thing on a page. And for some reason, whenever I'm able to color in a thing on a page, it makes me happy. And so then in February, even though I gave myself this, can it focus on this, please? There we go. Even though I gave myself this ridiculous TBR, I still managed to finish every single one of them. And so then we got to March, right? And then I was feeling a little bit burned out. Like, I still did it, but I was getting burned out. And I was feeling like, why am I doing this again? What is the point? And so then we got to April, and I managed to finish all but one, this one right here. But then I didn't learn my lesson. I didn't make my TBR smaller. In fact, I had also given myself a spring TBR on top of all of that. That was 10 books. And I had 2 months for this one. And so of course my brain was like, oh no, what am I doing? I need to finish all of these. As you can see, I already have 2 right here and right here that I'm not finishing. This last month, May, for context, this is the last day of the month. I have 1 book that I'm in the middle of that I am gonna finish, and then 2 books that I can finish either one of them today. We'll see what I decide to do. So I've made good progress, but I decided for some reason that I was still gonna give myself 8 books on my TBR. Doesn't matter that like 3 of them were also in my spring TBR, so I was also knocking out some of my spring TBR, which is the only reason I managed to make as much headway on either one of them. But I just realized that's not nice to myself. I don't like this. Why am I doing this to myself? And I also just have so many books that I've been wanting to mood read, and I have the entire Dragon Watch series. I have the last book on, spoiler alert, this is gonna be on this month's TBR, the last book in Fablehaven, so I can start Dragon Watch, because they're due at the library and I need to return them, and I already maxed out all of my renewals. Luckily, my library doesn't have late fees, but it makes me uncomfortable to have late books, so I want to finish those as soon as possible so I can return them to the library. So I'm giving myself the most chill, low, calm TBR as possible this month. I am only putting 4 books on it. 4, which is so achievable and doable. But I'm gonna give myself like 8 books for a summer TBR, which summer is 3 months long, right? And so for summer, I'm gonna have the main summer TBR, and then I'm gonna have like 3 or 4 books each month, depending on, how I'm feeling and what's going on in my life and how many I think I'll actually finish. We're gonna change that up throughout the months, but this month we're doing 4 books. And to make it easier for myself, I have already picked those out. So we will talk about those later, but this is going to be my June TBR. But we're gonna do the fun part first, before I talk about all the books. We're gonna go through this wonderful stack of books. You can't even see it, there's a little bit more on top. This wonderful stack of books, and we're gonna choose 8 for a summer TBR. So we're gonna see what my wonderful TBR die decides to choose, and then I think we're gonna pick 6 from here, and then I'm gonna pull 2 of these, and these are just little slips of books that I don't own, or are series that I want to continue but I don't own them, or they're rereads or something I want to do. So we'll pick 2 of these towards the end. Oh, I don't have anything to roll the TBR die in, because normally I have a themed thing that works for the month. What's June? June's like the beginning of summer, right? Do I have anything summery? I have my Taylor Swift. We're doing Taylor Swift. I have my cup from when I went and watched the Eras Tour movie, and inside are all the friendship bracelets I made. I didn't make the beaded ones because I didn't have the beads. Those are so expensive. Well, more expensive, but I have a ton of friendship bracelets that are like the knotted ones I've made. Anyway, this is because Taylor Swift, yesterday was Taylor Swift Independence Day, as the Swifties have already coined it, and she managed to get all of her original albums, and now she owns all of her work, so we can listen to the Taylor's versions and the original versions, and I'm so excited. I've been listening to Red Taylor's version and Reputation, and I'm so happy that we're not getting Reputation Taylor's version, because it's so funny. It is literally, we clowned ourselves into this. Like, so funny. I love it so much. Anyway, let's choose 6 books. Oh, you can't see the cable. We have 2 and 4. Okay, I multiply them together, so that's 8. Okay, so how I do this is, on the top I have a series. You can't even tell. We'll just put the next book in the series on. I skip series if there's more than one, or like authors that I'm not wanting to read more than one of their books a month, so I'll skip over like right here. This is a series, it's all the same author, so I'll just pick one, count one of them. Okay, anyway, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I was thinking actually that this would be a really good book for this TBR. This book is, the stack is way more stable and I have it against the wall over here, but I can't film over there because the lighting's terrible, so I had to move everything to my desk. So the stack hopefully will not fall over. Okay, we have the 5 Survive by Holly Jackson, which is I think it's set in summer actually, but I've heard that it is a thriller and I'm interested and intrigued in it, and I found it at a thrift store, so I was like, why not? So if I get creeped out, I'm absolutely skipping this one. Like, we're gonna read half of it, but I just want to see if I like a thriller, because I'm a wimp when it comes to scary things, specifically in books actually, because I have to like actually think about it with my brain. In a movie I can look away, but in a book I'm a little bit of a wimp. So we'll see how much I get through this one, but this will be fun for summer. 4, 5 more. No, wait. Yeah, 5 more. We have a 2 and a 4. Again, I guess we're doing 8 again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, we've got Jeff Wheeler. Now, I am halfway through a series by him, but I also have the first book in another series by him, and I've reached a good stopping point in the series that I'm reading, but I also really want to continue that series. I don't know. I can't decide. Let me look at both of them. We'll look at both the premises. So first one I have is The Druid by Jeff Wheeler. This is in the Muirwood series, so I'm already like so desperately wanting to read it because I love anything Muirwood. And then this one is the King Fountain series, which I'm currently been reading through. I can't remember if this is the next one though. King's Trader, no, the next one is The Hollow Crown. This one I found at DI, which was lovely, but it was also the 4th in the series, so I couldn't continue the series. And then my mom was lovely and gave me the rest of the series for Christmas, so she's an angel. Following that down, this is the 4th in the series, by the way, so I'm gonna not say any spoilers. Oh, this is about the daughter. This is about the daughter of the boy that we've been reading about in the first 3 books. That's interesting. Okay, we're reading this one. I'm emotionally, sentimentally attached to these characters right now. So we need to finish the series while I've got that emotional, with it. I love his books, by the way. They're so good. Okay, that's the second book in our TBR. And now I guess I'll just take these out because we already picked a book by him. So Jeff Wheeler, you get to go chill over here. Oh, I forgot there's one more book on this. It's not on the TBR because my life is chaos right now. This is Dancing Shoes by Jill Noel Stratford. One of my siblings put it on my TBR. Sometimes they'll just bring me books and stick them on my shelf. So I'm assuming it was my brother, but I don't know. We have 2 books, 4 to go. 3. Already gonna get a different number, that's lovely. And 5, 15, all right. The book I really want to read is Daisy Hates. Like, I've been kind of really wanting to read it, and having it on a TBR always makes me feel like, yes, we're gonna read this soon. So if we get that one, I'll be happy. If not, I'm gonna mood read it this month probably. Anyway, what was that, 15? Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay, I think this is actually another thriller, funnily enough. This is Fade Away by E.B. Vickers. Funnily enough, why am I saying that so much? Funny story, I've met her. I got to meet her in middle school because my English teacher was like, hey, you like writing, go do this cool, like, meet the author luncheon thing. It was an amazing experience actually, because it was the first time I got to meet an author when I was younger, and she talked to us about writing. And I think I don't have a signed one of her books, but I still have the letter that my teacher gave me that I could go to it, because it was momentous in my young life, because she saw the potential in me to become a writer, which at that point I had not even been thinking of, but now I am. So this book is by her. Her other 2 books that I read were for, like, they were even for kids younger than me when I read them, and I was in middle school, so they're like grade school books. This one I think is this is another thriller. I guess we're doing a thriller summer, which I'm not actually happy about, but we'll see how that one goes. That was 1, 2, 3 more. 6. Oh, also, rule of mine is if I get 2 6s, I get to do a reread of whatever book I want. And 3. Okay, I guess not. 18. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. All right, I guess we're reading Dancing Shoes by Noel Stratford. This looks like a little kid's book, but it's not too young. So we'll see. I really love books like this. I still read Beverly Cleary sometimes because I love the way that she writes. I also want to do a reread of some of my favorite childhood classics, so this will be fun to read and see if it's interesting. If it is interesting, I'll probably give it to like my younger siblings to read, put out on the family bookshelf. 2 more, right? Yeah, 2 more. 6. Oh, it was teetering. And 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've been thinking about reading this actually. So I read the first book in February and I did not love it, but I have been so interested in reading the second one. This is Sam by Jack Wayland. And as you can tell by the cover, this is an 80s book. It's so 80s. And it's also, I'm a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And so this is set in the 80s, in that church culture time, with a Latter-day Saint main character. And let me just say, the first book did not do a good job of demonstrating what my church is about at all. It was so dumb. I didn't love it, but it was so entertaining because I was like, what in the world is gonna happen next? These are like the most toxic characters, like, and these are put as like a fantastic love story. So let me just say they're not. They're kind of terrible, but I'm really interested in seeing what the next one is, and my boyfriend's name is Sam, so I kind of collect books that have his name. So I have this one, and I have a book called Sam 7 so far, and I want to just collect books that have his name in the title. So even if I don't love it, I'm keeping this book because emotional attachment to the name, I guess. 1 more. If you don't give me Daisy Hates, I'm gonna choose it anyway, so just choose whenever you like. All right. 5. And 1. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, this is gonna be a good one. Beauty and the Clockwork Beast by Nancy Campbell Allen. I've actually read another one of her books and I did enjoy it. I picked this one up from the thrift store because I thought it looked hilarious, and I love any sort of, you know, retelling of a fairy tale. They're my favorite things. They're the books I grew up on. And so when I saw this one, I thought it was hilarious. The back of this says, Jane Eyre meets Beauty and the Beast in a steampunk proper romance. The cover, I can't. It's so funny, and I'm so excited to read this book. I've been thinking about it for probably years at this point. I've had it. That is gonna be a treat to read. All right, I am sitting right under my vent, and it is so cold. Normally my room is like so warm, but it is so cold right now. I guess my mom decided to turn on the AC, and I have literal goosebumps right now because it's so cold. So let's pick 2 more prompts of books that I will either scrounge up the physical copy from my library or request it, or some of them I think I have out on the bookshelf over there that's like my family's books and not like my books. Let's see what it decides to choose for me. And if it's a prompt I don't like, I feel there's no qualms with just getting rid of it because I have done that multiple times now. City of Ember. Okay, that's actually really interesting because I've been thinking about that series too. This is a series, I read the first 2 books, I think there's 2 more, and the first book's really interesting. It's about like this community that lives in the pitch black, and every morning the lights turn on at a certain time and they turn off at a certain time, and it's run by a generator. And so the generator is going bad, and so people are like, what do we do? Like, we're in the pitch dark. Everyone who's wandered out hasn't been able to find their way back. Like, we can't get out of this area, so these 2 kids take it upon themselves to figure out how to get out of this space, and it is so interesting. And the second book was also interesting, but it wasn't as interesting as the first one, so I haven't continued, but my boyfriend said that it does get good, so I guess we'll continue that series. All right, 1 more. Oh, I guess that's the one. Decided I wanted to leave. Okay, we've got Tuesdays at the Castle by Jessica Day George, not Jessalyn Stewart Peasley. My mistake. Tuesdays at the Castle. The first book is called Tuesdays at the Castle. I think the second one is Wednesdays at the Windswept Manor. I don't know. They're all alliterative. But I liked the first book, and I only owned the first book because I found the first one at the library, but I'm pretty sure, no, the first book at DI, and I bought it. But I'm pretty sure that the rest of them are at the library, or I can get it on Libby or an ebook or something like that. I'm actually really excited to continue that series. Okay, this is a really good mix of books. I'm happy about this. Okay, let's talk really quick about all the books and look into them because I'm interested in seeing what I pulled, because a lot of these actually don't even know the plot because I just buy them because they look interesting or I know the author, and then I go on with my life and forget about them until I get pulled them for this video. Okay, I talked about these ones, but I think the next book in this series talks about the characters. Oh, I can't even say a single thing, it'll be like a huge spoiler, but the characters later on. So we'll find the third book of City of Ember, and then we'll find the next book of Tuesdays at the Castle. That series is really interesting because it has this little girl who's a princess who lives in a castle, obviously, and the castle's alive and it's magical and so it speaks, but some bad person is trying to take over the kingdom and the little girl manages to, you know, figure out the plot, and it's very interesting and I'm excited to see where it goes because it ended on a pretty massive cliffhanger and I just didn't continue the series because that's what I did last year, was I just never continued series. Beauty and the Clockwork Beast. Let's read the back of this book really quick, which is going to spoil stuff for me, but it's always funny just to see how, I'm not expecting this to be an amazing book, I'm expecting it to be funny, and I really hope it is. When Lucy Pickett arrives at Blackwell Manor to tend to her ailing cousin Kate, she finds more than she bargained for. A restless ghost roams the hallways. Okay, this is supernatural. Interesting. I didn't expect this to be that. Okay. A restless ghost roams the hallways. Werewolves have been reported in the area, and vampires lurk across the Scottish border. Lord Miles himself is clearly hiding a secret. He is brash and inhospitable and does not take kindly to visitors, even when as smart and attractive as Miss Pickett. He is unsettled by the mysterious deaths of his new wife Clara and his sister Marie. Could Miles himself be to blame for the deaths? Of course he is. Working together, Miles and Lucy attempt to restore peace to Blackwell Manor, but can Lucy solve the mystery of Miles? Can she love the man, beast, and all? That sounds like so much fun. I think this is a chunky book. Yeah, it's over 300 pages. Normally these ones are like 250 and then they're done. This is gonna be fun. I'm excited. Now we have Sam. So the first book ends not with a cliffhanger, but kind of like where you knew it was going to end the whole time. I'm not even going to spoil anything for you because the first line of the book is, I loved my late wife, whatever her name was, Charlie. I loved my late wife, Charlie. So you know she dies at the end, and it follows their life and their interesting relationship up until she dies. So this book, I'm 90% sure follows him when he remarries. So let's see if the blurb says anything. Oh, there is no blurb. Oh, fun. Yeah, this is in 1981. This is like the most 80s book ever to have done. I'm so intrigued because the first book was so up and down. I don't know how in the world this book is gonna continue, but I'm excited to find out. Dancing Shoes by Noel Stratford. This is, I think, like an elementary school grade book. So I'm not expecting this to be the most amazing literature in the entire world, but I am expecting it to be cute and maybe have a friendship theme, hopefully. I think it is because it has two girls, and I assume it has to do with dance. When Cora Wintle goes to pick up her orphan niece Rachel, she discovers that Rachel's adopted sister Hillary would be perfect for her dancing troupe. The only problem is that Hillary might be as good as Cora's own precious daughter Dulcie. Oh, still Cora is determined to take sulky Rachel and sprightly Hillary and make them into members of Wintle's Little Wonders dance troupe. But Rachel doesn't want to be a little wonder. She can't dance, she'd rather die than wear the ruffly costume. Nothing seems to be going as planned until Rachel discovers her talent for acting. So is this from the mom's perspective? That is fun. I'm excited. I love books when they're for little kids from the mom's perspective. Kind of gives like Mrs. Pigglewiggle, where it starts with the mom's perspective and then it goes to the kids. I love that. I need to reread all of Mrs. Pigglewigle's books because they're a delight to read. Fade Away by Elaine E. I think it's Elaine Vickers, actually. I think she just rebranded to E.B. Vickers. At 8:53 p.m., thousands of people watched as Jake Foster secured the state title for his basketball team with his signature Fade Away. But by the next morning, he's disappeared without a trace. Nobody has any idea where he is. Not his best friend, who knows him better than anyone else. Not his ex-girlfriend, who may still have feelings for him. Not even his little brother, who never expected Jake to abandon him. Rumors abound regarding Jake's whereabouts. Was he abducted? Is he off trying to take his game to the next level? Or is it something else, something darker, something they should have seen coming? Told from the points of view of those closest to Jake. Okay, multiple proofs. This gripping suspenseful novel reminds us that the people we think we know best are sometimes hiding the most painful secrets. Interesting. I'm not excited for 2 thrillers in the summer, but I guess we can do Summerween. That'll be fun. I hate allergies. I've been sneezing for the past 2-3 weeks and it just comes in the most random times and I'm like, I need to scratch my nose off. This is the continuation of the series. I kind of already talked about it, but The Hollow Crown by Jeff Wheeler. I'm so excited to see from his young child's perspective, who's named after a really important character in the first book. I am so excited. I don't know where he's going to take this series. I assume it kind of like, maybe not goes down to where we see this world later in some of his other series, because this is not a prequel. The way that he writes is he has a world, and so he has this world, and it has this series, and then it has a series that's set earlier in this world, and I assume he's going to do some more in it. And then he has a different world that has one series that's earliest, middle, latest, and the latest one ties in with the, I assume, the longest after this series in this world's history. So those two tie together, and that's why I wanted to read this series so much, is because I loved this other series he wrote that ties into this world. It's just, he has the most wonderful writing style, and these books are more like Arthurial. I don't even know if that's a word, but like King Arthur and the Knights of Camelot. It's based on that, but they don't use those words, but you can tell it's based on that. It kind of reads more Old Englishy, and his other series read more like typical fantasy series, which I like, and I like both of the different ways, but it is a little bit harder to get into the series because there is so much, like, you have to learn the tensions and the politics are like number one thing in this book. Like, there is some action, but it's mostly just politics, which is interesting, but it's like a little bit harder to decipher at the beginning, but once you decipher the first like 50 pages of every book, then you're completely in, you understand what's going on. But I'm excited. This is gonna be fun. And finally we have Five Survive by Holly Jackson. I have heard fantastic reviews and I've heard terrible reviews, so I already kind of know what it's about. It's 5 people in an RV and the RV breaks down, and then you have to discover someone wants them dead and you don't know who. So I know this takes place within 8 hours, so I don't even know how in the world there's like 388 pages of this book. We'll see. We'll figure that out. Okay, that is my entire summer TBR. So I'm gonna read those over the next 3-ish months. Hopefully June, July, August, I'll read these books. If I don't, literally doesn't matter. The books are meant to be read when they're meant to be read. And if I don't feel like reading at the moment, then I don't need to freak out about it. Now we've got our TBR for this month. And these are all books that I have been thinking about reading and wanting to read. So I didn't want to leave it to chance and to the dice to pick these ones. So I handpicked every single book I want to read this month on my TBR because these are books I know I'm going to get to and I know I want to read. Starting with the 2 library books that I checked out earlier this month, wanted to read and didn't get to because I got depressed. So the first one is The Unselected Journals of Emma M. Lyon. I read the first book of this series, I think last month or 2 months ago. Loved it. It was so cute. It was so funny. It was so interesting. It was such a weird mix of like magic and like mystery and London, which is like my favorite place ever. And I know there's going to be a love story at some point, but I think there's 8 books and they're all about this length. So they're not huge and they're epistolary. So they're from Emma M. Lyon's journal. And so you get to read just her life in spurts and spots, and it's so fun and I love it because it doesn't take too much to read. I think I read the first book in like an hour and a half and I'm so excited to keep reading it. I got the first book put under my door at some point. By who, I don't know, but they did a fantastic job in choosing it for me because now I want to own every single one of them, but they're like $15 each, so we're using my library. But I need to read this one soon because I don't think I can renew it because it's on hold for someone else, so I need to read this in like the next 2 days to return it because I feel bad about having books too long. Then we have Cloaked in Beauty by Karen Whitmire. Hear me out. A Texas Ever After book. This is the first one I've ever seen. I don't even know if it's the first in a series or if it's just like, oh, it's not. It's the 3rd in a series. That's even better, actually. I love getting into series in the middle where I don't know what's going on. But just the idea of Texas Ever After, I was about to put it back just from the cover because I'm like, just looks like a typical book I've read before. But Texas Ever After? That's so funny to me. So we're gonna see how this goes. I know it's Red Riding Hood and it's like in Texas. And apparently, it sounds so funny. Anyway, we're gonna figure out what in the world this book is because I'm just intrigued. So I'm excited for that one. That one also is due and I need to return it. So we need to read that soon. Then we have the 5th book in the Fablehaven series. I have been slowly making my way through this because I want to read Dragon Watch. I've read the first 2 or 3 books in the Dragon Watch series. Don't know whether it's 2 or 3. I read the first book when it came out, the second book when it came out, and then the 3rd one, I was like, I think I finished it, but I was like, this ends in too much of a cliffhanger for me not to have the next book immediately to read it. So I decided to wait and read them when they all came out. But then I got depressed. So when they were all finished, I was like, oh, whatever, I'll read them later. Bad mistake, because these are middle grade, through and through. And it has been a struggle to get through them because I'll read and I'm like, la 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 la, and then it just hits me with the middle gradeness in the middle of my face, and I'm like, they're good. I'm saying that in saying that I love middle grade books. I really do. But I am now 21, and so I waited a little bit too long to read these books. If I read them when they finished, I think I was like 19, I probably would have enjoyed it more because it wouldn't have been as hard to get into them. But now I have to reread the first series, which I've already read. So I'm not caught. I'm not like wondering what's going to happen because I've already read them like 2 times. And I just got stuck multiple times because I was like, I can't anymore. So we're finally on the last book. And I'm saying this I need to read this book so I can finish the series so I can not worry about finishing the series anymore. This is kind of how I felt about doing the rereads before Wind and Truth came out, which is the Stormlight series by Brandon Sanderson. And those books 3 times this big. Gigantic chunks of books. It took me so long to get through reading all of those, so when the last book finally came out and I read it, it was amazing, but I was so tired of reading them. So I just need to finish these, get them done, because I know once I start reading Dragon Watch, I'm going to be speeding through it because I remember nothing about that series. It's going to be so interesting. Everything's going to be new. So we just need to read this, get it done, read the next series. Anyway, that's why it's on my TBR. And now, the book that I am looking forward to the most. This is the most beautiful cover I've seen in my entire life. It is The Best Kept Secrets by Sarah M. Eden, and this is the latest book in the Huntresses series. I think it's technically the 3rd book, but it's the 4th one with the novella at the beginning. So there's like a prequel novella, and then this is the like third book, but it's the 4th member in the friend group that's getting married. And I am ecstatic. That's like too mild of a term for this. I literally went on release day to the place like that sold this book in my town. I think it was Deseret Book, and I went in and I was like looking around. I was looking, they didn't have it on a table, and I was like, no, is it tomorrow? So I looked, it wasn't tomorrow, it was today. So I went up to an employee. I wanted this book so bad. I went up to an employee and I said, hey, do you have this book? And she's like, I think that one has a really strict release date, like you can't get it early. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure it releases today. And she's like, oh. So she's like, I'll go in the back. And she comes back and she hands me a book, and I'm like, thank you so much. So then I go up to the cash register, and the lady's like, oh, this isn't ringing up the system. And I'm like, oh yeah, she just went and got it for me from the back. She's like, okay, let me put in the barcode. Sometimes it just doesn't ring up. So she puts it in, doesn't work. And I'm like, I guess I can come back tomorrow. She's like, no. So she goes, she finds it on the online thing. She manages to get it, and she scans it. $18. The back price says it's $17.99, so it was like 18 something. These books went up in price. The other books were like $16. I'm just sad because I love these books so much, and it's so expensive to buy them. But I'm so deep. Can you see these books back here? That box full of Sarah M. Eden. That one has the rest of the series that I don't have. There's more behind. I'm so deep into buying her books at this point. I can't not buy them. So anyway, I am so happy to read this series. This one follows, I think, one of the girls, there's 2 girls in the friend group who aren't twins, but they're close enough that look like twins, and they're sisters. And this follows one of them as she falls for, I don't even know who. I don't even want to look, because I love going into these as blind as possible, because I kind of figure it out along the way. And I'm so happy about it. She has another book releasing later this year that follows the Tides of Time, which is her completely new like fantasy series. And I'm so excited to read the second book of that, because the first book was great, but I know the second book's going to be even better because we kind of understand the magic system. She's so prolific this year. So prolific, and I'm living for it. Anyway, I'm too excited to not read this book right now, and I don't want to make myself wait. And also the cover. It's giving Gracie Abrams, and it's just so beautiful. I need to display it, but I don't have shelf room, literally, for the books that I already own, so no displaying is gonna happen. Those are my 2 TBRs. So these are all in my TBR for this month, because I know I'm gonna get to all of these. Fablehaven, because I'm guilty that I haven't finished the rest of the series. These 2 because they're library books, and this one because I literally cannot wait another day. So that is how that's going. I have a couple books on next month's, I guess this month, which is today, TBR, that I'm gonna probably finish, either The Prince and the Pauper or the one that I have on Kindle, but we'll see. I'll decide later today, or I might just do editing. You never know. Both of those would be good things to do. Hopefully I don't just play Stardew all day long. It makes me happy every time I get to read more books, and I like making TBRs, but I need to be kinder to myself when I make them, because it's not good for my brain to not have a separation between books I have to read and books I want to read. And having books I want to read on this month's TBR and books that I get to read if I want to is gonna help me like a ton to probably get out of this. Not reading something, I just have a life slump right now. So tell me what you want to read this month, and I will see you in the next video, which literally who knows when that is. I have no idea at this point. Anyway, goodbye.